to reported remarks made by the Pakistani chief of army staff during his visit to the United States, calling them yet another example of Pakistan's nuclear saber rattling. In fact, in a strongly worded statement, the Ministry of External Affairs said such comments only deepen existing doubts about the integrity of Pakistan's nuclear command and control, particularly in a state where the military is hand in glove with terrorist groups. Let's also tell you the MEA also termed it regrettable that these provocative remarks were made from the soil of a friendly third country. Reaffirming India's position, the ministry stated that the country will not yield to nuclear blackmail and will take all necessary steps to safeguard national interest and national security. Taking that across to my guest joining us this evening, Lieutenant General S.L. Narasimhan, retired Senior Associate Non-Resident, in fact, Chair of India and Emerging Asia Economics. Sir, thank you very much for taking the time out and joining us this evening on ET Now. Given these particular statements, right, and Munir's nuclear threats is chest thumping with renewed US indulgence, or is it seen as the desperate bluster of a general masking political chaos and economic collapse back home?
Thank you very much for getting me on your show, and it's a pleasure to be on ET Now. This is something which came as a little unexpected because it's rather undiplomatic to go on to a third friendly country and then mention the kind of things that the Field Marshal Munir mentioned. So it is a unfortunate kind of a statement that came up from him. However, our stance is extremely clear that we stand by our security and we will ensure that whatever is needed for security. And if you take your mind back, in 2016, 2019, and in 2025 during Op Sindoor, we have actually called the nuclear bluff of Pakistan. So they kept saying that we have tactical nuclear weapons, we have this kind of nuclear weapons, and so you can't do anything to us. So that has been proven wrong, and it has been stated by our own leaders also in the same tone. So to that extent, it's fine. It's a little saber rattling by the Pakistan Chief of Army, but it's only that much. I don't think we will blink on anything that we decide to do, and we will take care of our own security.
Absolutely. But given the aspect of what you called it in terms of the opening remark and also going on to question where this was made, right? That particular stage we're talking about where this was essentially made, and this was a carefully chosen diaspora event as well. Was Munir, in fact, in your opinion, sending a message to US military brass, leveraging American soil for legitimacy, or daring Washington to stop him? Because should the US see this as an embarrassment on its own turf, or is the Washington quietly indulging a rogue general for its own strategic purposes?
First thing is, I think we need to notice that the statement was made to the diaspora. So obviously he was trying to show up to the diaspora that he's in control of things and he'll be able to manage this. Please also don't forget that he called India a shining SUV, Mercedes SUV, and Pakistan as a dump truck. So in fact, it's a contrast. On one hand, he says that, we will handle India, we will do this and we will do that. On the other hand, he also realizes the reality that India is far ahead of Pakistan in every aspect. And that also has been brought out in that particular thing. On the issue of US, I think we'll wait for the comments from US to come. US has not commented so far as I know. So let us wait for that comment to come. I don't know whether they'll comment or not. But the fact of the matter is, since he has done it on US soil, I think it is a little embarrassment to the US also that a friendly democratic country is being threatened from its own soil by a country which supports terrorism. So this is going to be a bit of an embarrassment for US. How they handle it, we'll wait and see. We'll wait for the statements to come, and then we will be able to make out as to what happened there.
Right. Perhaps when that statement comes in, we'll be able to decipher that particular angle as well. But, sir, let me ask you this. Given, Trump's history of courting Pakistan's military as well, do you, believe at some point that Munir feels emboldened by the prospect of a friendlier White House, perhaps, in 2025 or in the near future?
Yes, during, in the month of July, we are all aware that, Field Marshal Munir went to White House for a lunch, and thereafter, there were some praises that were given. And he also praised General Kurilla for having done those operations against Iran. But earlier in one of the other TV shows, people are mentioning that probably Iran was, Pakistan is actually acting as a conduit for passing messages and getting back messages from Iran, which may be a possibility. But other than that, I don't think, I think he little got carried away is what I could make out. It is not a very mature kind of a statement to make, particularly at that level of being the chief of army of a particular country and having visiting in the third country, which is a friend of both India and Pakistan. So this is something that he shouldn't have done. He has done that. Maybe he got carried away by the euphoria of the diaspora to which he was speaking. However, we will not take whatever he said lightly. We will continue to prepare our own to cater for our own security.
You know, that's interesting that you pointed out, given how embarrassing this is also in terms of the fact that it was made on the US soil. But the other aspect is, do you think this is also a way of vying for attention, given that did not happen in their favor when Operation Sindoor also happened, sir?
You see, Pakistan has always been looking for attention. So that is one of the reasons why Kashmir issue is alive. So if Kashmir issue gets resolved, Pakistan will lose its value, at least half of it. Half of the value comes to it from the strategic location that it is located in. The support that it gives to other countries to basically launch whatever operation they need to launch in the neighborhood. So thinking that, basic thing that we need to keep in mind is that Pakistan is something which will do these kind of things to draw some attention. But I am sure the world knows the worth of Pakistan and what they do for terrorism. And therefore, I think he stretched it a little too far. And that is the way I think we should see it. And I'm sure the world understands when he says he'll take down half the world down with them if they are going down. Obviously, that half the world is going to be worried and they are going to take cognizance of what he said. So that is not going to be very well liked by people. So this is also another aspect that we need to consider. The countries whom he threatened also will be under pressure to look at Pakistan, not from a positive point of view, but from a negative point of view. So if at all he was drawing for attention, I think he drew a lot of negative attention than positive attention that he should have actually got.
But, you know, talking about what Munir also stated, sir, that Munir's, threats aspects weren't limited to the nukes. You know, he promised to also talk about the aspect of the Indus Water Treaty. So are we now seeing an official Pakistani military policy of weaponizing water in violation of the very treaty that has kept a fragile peace on this issue for decades?
See, what people should understand is, what every one of us should understand is, he said that, let India construct dams, we'll launch about 10 odd missiles and demolish them, etc., etc. So the issue that comes up is, he has to understand if that happens, and if Pakistan does something of that nature, I think he is just actually asking for a full-scale war. And that I am not sure whether Pakistan will be able to face it. If they are not able to face a couple of days of conflict with India, I am really not sure as to how they are going to face the whole full-fledged kind of a war. So I think it is basically for kind of a cyber rattling, basically to impress the local, the diaspora that he was speaking to. But I don't think he will venture into something so serious and get away with it without a massive damage coming back to Pakistan.
You know, talking about the other aspect of the response of the MEA, because it has linked his remarks to the military's close ties with the terrorist groups. But from your prism, how real is the risk of the nuclear assets slipping into the hands of those non-state actors?
See, this issue has been debated for a very long time. Pakistan's nukes falling into the hands of the non-state actors. This has been under debate for a very long time. But any sane armed force will not allow its nukes to be used by terrorists. So basically, even if the terrorists use it, ultimately it is Pakistan who is going to suffer. So to that extent, no armed force, including that of Pakistan's, would allow the nukes to go into the terrorist hands. So they will do whatever they can to protect it from that particular non-state actors who are actually acting off from the soil of Pakistan. So I think on that aspect, I think I'll be a little more candid in saying that it is for their own good that the Pakistan army should not allow the nuclear arsenal to fall into the hands of the non-state actors.
Sir, let me also ask you this. Given that Pakistan's army is already, of course, accused of bankrolling and protecting terror outfits, how should India recalibrate escalation control when nuclear capability sits in such hands that we're looking at? While, of course, these are open threats.
See, the thing is, I think the answer to your question lies in our nuclear doctrine. Our nuclear doctrine says even if, firstly, we will not use it first. There is a no first use policy we have. But should any kind of attack come onto the Indian soil, it is a massive retaliation is mandated in that doctrine. So to that extent, we have not quantified whether a small nuclear weapon or a big nuclear weapon will fall into Indian territory or attack the Indian armed forces. The retaliation will be massive. So to that extent, I think we have conveyed it very clearly that any kind of activity of nuclear happening onto Indian soil or the Indian armed forces will face a massive retaliation. So on that, I think we shouldn't have any doubts. And if Pakistan wants that kind of a retaliation, they can be our guest.
All right, sir. And on that note, I want to thank you very much for taking the time out, joining us this evening and sharing with us your perspective as to how you're essentially looking at this particular situation. But for the moment, we leave the conversation at that. We're slipping in a quick break here on Business at 9. Stay with us. We're going to be right back with lots more on the other side.